And it cautions us, I think, to be careful with this language.
Oh, completely.
And to remember that this language is pointing us, towards an experience that's almost kind of too full for the words themselves.
Yeah, that it is. There's a word that means beyond language.
Oh, ineffable.
Ineffable.
Beyond naming, yeah.
Yes, and that's what he's dealing with. And I think it's one of the another way to get that ineffable sense of God. Like, you get it a little bit with Moses on Mount Sinai.
Right.
But
I am who I am. I'm not going to give you my name.
Right. But you lose that kind of intangible, ineffable sense of God throughout a lot of that middle section.
Yes.
Of the Old Testament,
and here it's coming back.
Yes, here it's coming back.
Nice.
It's very nice. Yeah.
So hit us with the valley.
Dry bones.
Dem bones,
Okay.
dry bones.
So probably the most famous image from Ezekiel of his plethora of images is the Valley of the Dry Bones. Dun, dun, dun. I always imagine this almost like a valley with like dinosaur bones. I don't know why.
With a dog just sitting there. It's like a dog dream.
It's kind of like in Lion King when,
right,
like in the hyenas,
yes,
where it's all the bones.
Yes, the scary part.
It's kind of scary.
Yeah, Will didn't like that part.
No, well, it's scary.
Yeah.
Why would you? And so Ezekiel sees the vision of the Valley of the Dry Bones, and he hears the Lord saying, I will make these dry bones live again. I will put them back together. I will put muscles on them, put flesh, and then breathe into them. And it's so beautiful because you get echoes of the creation story found in Genesis 2, of that intimate ruah into the person, like of that echo of new creation that we get later in the book, and also that we've had in Isaiah and Jeremiah. It's a culmination of a lot of images. And what I really like is that as he prophesies this image, the image kind of grows and accrues, where at first it's like the bones are put together, and then comes the muscles, and then comes the skin, and finally comes the breath. That it's a process. That's not a boop, and you're all together once again. But that this is...
It's a healing process. That's a nice thought.
Process.
I never read it like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
That takes some time.
Yeah.
And that you may... And I think it's a nice word for them, where it's like you may not be functioning, but that doesn't mean you're not growing.
Well, don't you feel like that sometimes when you've been hurt and you're kind of coming back, but you're not quite there yet.
Right.
And you do sort of feel like a half a person.
Right.
Interesting. That's a nice read.
Thank you.
High five again.
Yeah.
Bringing us back.
I know.
Team us. Yay.
One finger at a time. Yeah, but it's just this lovely image of how healing actually happens. That it's not a magical, one day you're desolated, the next moment you're fine. That it's a process, and that the Jews are going to go through this process. Yeah.
Nice.
I like it.
Last vision, that I would want you to know is in 37, and if this is how Ezekiel ends, he has this sense of a new day, and he's describing again in kind of excruciating detail for his audience or congregation the rebuilding of Jerusalem, and it feels like every stone that he's describing. The thing that's, I think, kind of important to lift out is there's sort of a double meaning going on with the New Jerusalem. Ezekiel is both describing them going home and restoring a literal city, a New Jerusalem, but it's kind of in Ezekiel with that vision of the dry bones and life after death, that the Jewish community itself starts to begin to think about resurrection and life after death. We talked a little bit earlier and that the historic belief throughout most of the Bible is when you die, you die.
Yeah.
You go to Sheol. Everybody goes to Sheol. But this sense of, there's a heaven up here and a hell down here, that's quite foreign to the Bible, and even it's pushing it to even put it in Ezekiel. But Ezekiel, I think we start to feel this sense of a hope, not only for the literal Jerusalem, but then Jerusalem now kind of as a heavenly kingdom, if you will, a new kingdom. And this language gets picked up by Revelation. Revelation draws heavily on the book of Ezekiel. And this sense that to me is so important, we'll talk about it later, but the Bible never ever talks about destruction as the final word.
Never.
We start with creation, and then it acknowledges, things have gone awry a little bit, but there's no sort of awful, terrible destruction, cataclysm, and then God says, "Ha!" And that's it. There's always pain and difficulty and turmoil, and then it always ends with recreation, and restoration. And probably my favorite image that's from Revelation, but it's stealing from Ezekiel straight out, is the new Jerusalem, heaven literally descending upon earth.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the feel that we get in Ezekiel, is a day is coming, friends. Hold on and remember, even though you're in beautiful Babylon,
right,
you can do anything you want. There may be something better than just being rich. There may be being known and being loved and being blessed might be more important.
And not known like in famous, but
being known by God. Known inside out.
Yeah.
And so I think this is a vision that's helping them to kind of hold on to what's most true. And not even as a people, but then as individuals, because the reality is that the Babylonian exile 70 years, and people die. And so it's this sense of, but how do we keep hope for these folks that are no longer with us? And there is this sense that all will be in this new Jerusalem, the dead, the living, and it again kind of points to this sense of the whole body of Christ.
Yes.
That we end up reading